Hi. Want to follow up on the video I'm about to show you. During the storm Helena last year, we were without power for 7 days. During that 7 days, my neighbors and many folk were out trying to find generators. Some ordered some off of Amazon, and others borrowed them. That made me begin to think what life was going to be like, one, after the rapture, but also considering the strange weather patterns that we're experiencing now. How I wanted to share this information that I ran across on YouTube. I also wanted to just tell people, once again, as someone who lived many years without health insurance and benefits, I had to find ways to survive. Our current administration is trying to find a way to uh, take the money um, from our very bank accounts. He's trying to find a way to control the American citizens at all costs and all extreme measures. Uh, he's finally going to get to the point where he's going to declare martial law. You don't have to believe me, but just please go ahead and start getting prepared. Listen to this video, and I hope and pray you'll get some ideas from it that will help you and your family.
Everything goes black. Dead silence. Your Wi-Fi router stops blinking. The hum of your refrigerator dies. And in that split second of darkness, you realize something terrifying. You have absolutely no idea what to do next. But here's what separates survivors from victims in a power crisis. It's not luck. It's not wishful thinking. It's 9 specific rules that turn chaos into control, panic into power. Because while your neighbors are stumbling around in the dark, arguing about dead phone batteries, you'll be executing a plan that could literally save your life. Most people think a blackout is just an inconvenience. They're wrong, dead wrong. When Hurricane Sandy hit New York in 2012, people died, not from wind or water, but from carbon monoxide poisoning, hypothermia, and dehydration. All preventable, all because they didn't know these rules. So if you want to be the person who stays calm while everyone else loses their minds, keep watching. Because what I'm about to share isn't just survival advice. It's your insurance policy against becoming another casualty statistic. Let me tell you why most people fail catastrophically when the lights go out. They treat power outages like a temporary pause in their normal life. They sit around waiting for someone else to fix it. They assume help is coming. They burn through their phone battery posting on social media about how crazy this is. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. And here's the brutal reality most people don't understand. Modern society is exactly 3 days away from complete breakdown without electricity. 3 days. That's how long it takes for grocery stores to run out of food, gas stations to shut down, and water treatment facilities to fail. The 2021 Texas freeze proved this. When the power grid collapsed, people were boiling snow for drinking water, burning furniture to stay warm, and some froze to death in their own homes, in America, in the 21st century, because they thought someone else would handle it. But here's what the prepared survivors did differently. They had systems, they had plans, they had practiced these exact 9 rules I'm about to share with you. And while their neighbors were calling 911 hoping for rescue, they were already 3 steps ahead. The truth is, in a widespread blackout, you're on your own. Fire departments get overwhelmed. Police can't respond to every call. Hospitals run on backup power that won't last forever. The cavalry isn't coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And that starts with understanding that the first 30 minutes after the power dies are the most critical. What you do in those first 30 minutes determines whether you're a survivor or a statistic, whether you take control or lose it completely. So let's dive into rule number 1, because getting this wrong could cost you everything. Rule number 1, execute the 3-minute light protocol immediately. Not eventually, not when you get around to it, immediately. Here's why this matters more than you think. When darkness hits without warning, 3 things happen simultaneously. Panic spreads, accidents multiply, and predators start hunting. Yes, predators. Because when the lights go out, the wolves come out to play. But most people waste precious minutes fumbling for their phone flashlight, tripping over furniture, and trying to figure out if this is just a neighborhood thing or something bigger. By the time they get organized, they've already lost the psychological advantage. The 3-minute protocol works like this. You have exactly 3 minutes to establish complete lighting control throughout your entire living space. Not just one room, every room that matters. Here's your execution sequence. Grab your primary flashlight, which should be within arm's reach of wherever you spend most of your time. That's your command light. Use it to navigate to your lighting stations. Yes, stations. You should have backup lighting positions strategically throughout your home. Battery-powered lanterns in the living room, kitchen, and main bedroom. Glow sticks in the bathrooms because they're waterproof and last for hours. But here's the advanced move most people miss. After you light up your interior, you need to control your exterior visibility. Draw every curtain, close every blind, block every window. Because in a widespread blackout, a brightly lit house is like a neon sign that screams, "We have supplies, come take them." The psychological impact of controlled lighting is massive. When you can see clearly while chaos surrounds you, you automatically become the leader. Your family looks to you for guidance. Your mind stays sharp. Your decision-making improves. You've won the first battle before most people even realize they're in a war. Time check. If you've done this right, it's been 3 minutes since the power died, and you're already operating from a position of strength while your neighbors are still asking, "Honey, where's the flashlight?" Rule number 2, deploy the water fortress strategy within 10 minutes of power loss. Because after light, water is your most critical resource, and your window to secure it is closing fast. Here's what most people don't realize. When the power grid fails, the water system has maybe 6 to 12 hours before it starts failing too. Water treatment plants lose power, pumping stations shut down, pressure drops, and suddenly that faucet you've trusted your entire life goes dry. The water fortress strategy is simple but requires immediate action. You're going to turn your home into a water storage facility using what you already have. Every large container becomes a reservoir. Fill your bathtub. That's 30 to 50 gallons right there. Fill every sink, every pot, every pitcher, every bucket you own. But here's the critical part. While you're collecting, you need to be treating. Because even if your tap water is flowing now, there's no guarantee it's going to stay clean. Water treatment facilities don't function properly without power, so every gallon you collect needs to be purified. Drop a water purification tablet into each container, or add a few drops of unscented bleach, just 2 to 3 drops per gallon. This isn't about taste, it's about not dying from dysentery 3 days from now. Here's your mathematical reality. You need 1 gallon per person per day just for drinking. Add cooking and basic hygiene, and you're looking at 1.5 to 2 gallons per person daily. Got a family of 4? You need 8 gallons per day minimum. For a week-long outage, that's 56 gallons. Suddenly, that bathtub doesn't seem like overkill. But the fortress strategy goes beyond collection. You need renewable sources. Set up rainwater collection using buckets, tarps, anything with a clean surface. If you have a hot water heater, that's another 30 to 50 gallons of emergency water. Just remember to turn off the intake valve first. The prepared survivors I know can secure 100 plus gallons of clean drinking water within the first hour of an outage. While others are still figuring out what's happening, they've already solved their most critical survival need. Now, before we dive into rule number 3, I need to share something that could dramatically improve your survival odds. Throughout this video, I'm giving you the essential rules that'll keep you alive when the power dies. But if you want the complete survival blueprint, including the exact supply list, detailed protocols, and advanced strategies I use personally, I've put together a comprehensive survival guide that goes way deeper than what I can cover in one video. This isn't some generic emergency preparedness pamphlet. This is the exact step-by-step system I've developed after studying real blackout scenarios, interviewing disaster survivors, and testing these methods myself. It includes the precise supply calculations for different family sizes, the specific brands and models of gear that actually work under pressure, and the advanced psychological tactics that keep families calm during extended outages. You can check it out at the link in the description. It's the same system that's helped thousands of families transform from helpless to prepared. Because the truth is, when the lights go out for real, you don't want to be figuring this out as you go along. You want a proven plan you can execute automatically. All right, let's get back to keeping you alive. Rule number 3 is about food. And getting this wrong means your family goes hungry while your neighbors raid the grocery stores.
Rule number 3, master food triage and power-free cooking before your fridge becomes a biohazard. Because when the electricity dies, you've got a very short window before your food supply becomes your biggest liability. Here's the harsh reality. Your refrigerator will maintain safe temperatures for maybe 4 hours if you keep it closed. Your freezer might last 24 to 48 hours if it's full and you don't open it. After that, you're looking at a bacterial breeding ground that could put your family in the hospital. So you need to think like a battlefield medic. Triage everything. What needs to be consumed immediately? What can be preserved? What needs to be discarded before it kills you? First priority, cooked leftovers, dairy products, and anything with mayonnaise. These go bad fast and can cause serious food poisoning. Use them first or throw them out. Second priority, fresh meats, fish, and poultry. Cook these immediately if you have the means, or preserve them with salt if you're thinking long term. But here's where most people fail completely. They have no way to cook without power. Your electric stove is now just an expensive countertop decoration. Your microwave is dead. Your coffee maker won't brew. If you haven't planned for this, you're about to learn what cold beans from a can taste like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Power-free cooking isn't rocket science, but it requires the right tools. A portable propane stove with extra fuel canisters is your best friend. These things can boil water, cook rice, heat soup, and even fry eggs. Just make sure you're using them outside or in a well-ventilated area because carbon monoxide will kill you faster than hunger. Solar cookers are another game changer most people overlook. Yeah, they're slower than your conventional oven, but they work completely off-grid and can actually bake bread, roast meat, and simmer stews using nothing but sunlight. I've cooked entire meals with one of these things when the power was on, just to stay in practice. Here's an advanced tip. Create a 72-hour meal plan using only shelf-stable foods and your alternative cooking methods. Practice it now while the power's on, because when the crisis hits, you don't want to be reading instruction manuals by flashlight. Canned goods become your foundation. Soups, stews, chili, vegetables, but add rice, pasta, and dried beans for bulk and calories. Peanut butter, crackers, and granola bars don't require cooking at all. And here's something most people forget: comfort foods. When your world turns upside down, familiar tastes provide psychological comfort that's worth its weight in gold. Rule number 4, win the temperature war before it kills you. Because whether it's blazing summer heat or bone-chilling winter cold, losing control of your environment is a death sentence waiting to happen. Let's start with cold, because hypothermia is a sneaky killer. It doesn't announce itself with traumatic symptoms. You just get tired, confused, and clumsy until you're too far gone to save yourself. Every winter blackout, people die in their own homes because they tried to heat the entire house instead of thinking strategically. Here's your winter survival protocol. Pick one room and turn it into your survival sanctuary. Usually this is your smallest bedroom or living area. Seal it off with blankets, plastic sheeting, anything that blocks drafts and traps heat. You're not living in your house anymore, you're living in this room. Layer everything. Wear multiple sets of clothing. Wrap yourself in sleeping bags rated for cold weather. Use emergency Mylar blankets, but here's the trick: don't just wrap them around your body. Hang them on walls and over windows to reflect heat back into your space. Body heat is your primary heating source, so cluster together. Humans are basically walking furnaces that produce about 100 watts of heat each. Two people in a sealed room can raise the temperature several degrees just with their combined body heat. But here's the advanced move: thermal mass. Heat bricks, stones, or even water bottles using your alternative cooking setup, then bring them into your heated space. These act like radiators, slowly releasing stored heat over hours. Just be careful not to burn yourself. Wrap them in towels first. Now let's talk about summer, because heat kills more Americans annually than hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and lightning. When your AC dies and temperatures soar, your house becomes an oven. Your daytime strategy: create a heat barrier. Close all blinds and curtains. Use reflective materials like emergency blankets or aluminum foil to block windows that get direct sunlight. Seal your house during the day to keep hot air out. But when the sun sets, reverse everything. Open windows on opposite sides of your home to create cross ventilation. Use battery-powered fans to move air. Even a small breeze can make a 10-degree temperature feel manageable. Here's a cooling hack most people don't know: evaporative cooling. Hang wet towels in front of open windows. As the air passes through, evaporation cools it down by several degrees. You can also create ice packs using frozen vegetables, or fill bottles with water and freeze them while you still have power. Your basement becomes your survival sanctuary in summer heat. Underground spaces stay significantly cooler, sometimes 20 to 30 degrees below outdoor temperatures. If you have a basement, that's your retreat when temperatures become dangerous. Critical safety warning: never use charcoal grills, gas stoves, or kerosene heaters indoors to combat cold. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills silently and quickly. Every winter blackout, emergency rooms fill up with families who made this deadly mistake.
Rule number 5. Establish your communication lifeline before you're cut off from the world. Because in a blackout, information isn't just power, it's survival. Your smartphone is probably your go-to communication device. But here's the problem: cell towers run on backup batteries that last maybe 8 to 24 hours without power. After that, your phone becomes an expensive paperweight. Plus, even if towers are running, networks get overloaded when everyone tries to call or text simultaneously. This is why smart preppers never rely on just one communication method. You need multiple redundant systems, and you need them ready to go immediately. First line: a battery-powered or hand-crank radio. Not for entertainment, for emergency information. NOAA weather radio, AM/FM stations, emergency broadcast frequencies. These don't depend on cell towers or internet connections. When everything else fails, radio waves still travel. But here's what most people miss: two-way communication. Walkie-talkies with a decent range can connect you with family members, neighbors, or other prepared individuals in your area. Some models have ranges of several miles and don't depend on any infrastructure at all. For keeping your phone alive, solar chargers and hand-crank power banks are game changers. Solar chargers work even in cloudy conditions, just slower. Hand-crank chargers let you generate power manually. 15 minutes of cranking usually gives you enough juice for an emergency call. Here's an advanced communication strategy: create a communication schedule with family members before any emergency hits. Specific times to check in, specific methods to use, backup meeting locations if you can't reach each other electronically. When chaos reigns, having a predetermined plan eliminates guesswork and panic. Don't forget about your car. If it has fuel, it's a mobile communication hub. Car radios can pick up signals from much farther away than handheld devices. Plus, you can charge phones using the 12-volt outlet while the engine runs. Paper backup is crucial. Keep a printed list of important phone numbers: family, friends, doctors, insurance companies, local emergency services. Don't rely solely on your phone's contact list. When batteries die or devices get damaged, paper still works. For extreme scenarios, satellite communicators can send messages even when all local infrastructure is down. These aren't cheap, but they work anywhere on Earth and can literally be the difference between rescue and being stranded. Here's something most people never consider: signal tools. Whistles, mirrors, flares, Even bright flashlights can attract attention when electronic communication fails. A whistle blast travels much farther than your voice and uses zero battery power. Rule number 6. Build your medical fortress before illness and injury turn manageable problems into life-threatening emergencies. Because when the power's out, a simple cut can become a serious infection, and running out of prescription medication can be deadly. Let's start with medications, because this is where people die from completely preventable causes. If you take prescription drugs, insulin, heart medication, blood pressure meds, anything critical, you need backup cooling systems. Many medications spoil rapidly at room temperature, and a dead refrigerator can literally be a death sentence. Battery-powered coolers or even high-quality thermoses with ice packs can maintain proper temperatures for days. But here's the pro tip. Rotate your medication supply regularly. Always have a 30-day backup supply stored properly and use the oldest first while restocking with fresh supplies. Your first aid kit needs to go way beyond basic bandages. Think about what injuries are most likely during a blackout. Cuts from broken glass, burns from candles or alternative heat sources, sprains from navigating in the dark, and food poisoning from spoiled refrigerated items. Stock antiseptics, various sizes of bandages and gauze, burn gel, pain relievers, anti-diarrhea medication, and antibiotics if you can get them. But here's what's really critical. Know how to use everything in your kit. A first aid kit you don't understand is just expensive clutter. Hygiene becomes a medical issue when normal systems shut down. Without hot water and proper sanitation, bacterial infections spread rapidly. Stock up on wet wipes, hand sanitizer, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and feminine hygiene products. These aren't luxuries, they're medical necessities. Waste management is something nobody wants to think about, but it's critical for preventing disease. If toilets stop flushing because water pumps fail, you need a plan. Plastic bags, sawdust, or kitty litter for absorption, and a designated waste area away from your living and food storage spaces. Mental health is a medical issue too. Extended blackouts create enormous psychological stress. Depression, anxiety, and panic attacks can become serious medical emergencies. Having activities that reduce stress, books, games, music instruments, art supplies, isn't just about entertainment, it's about maintaining psychological stability. Here's an advanced medical strategy. Identify the nearest hospitals and urgent care facilities and know their backup power capabilities. Some medical facilities have generators that can run for days. Others might last only hours. In a serious emergency, this knowledge could save a life. Pre-existing conditions require special planning. If someone in your family needs oxygen therapy, dialysis, or other electrically powered medical equipment, you need backup plans that don't depend on the grid. This might mean portable oxygen concentrators, manual dialysis options, or prearranged transportation to facilities with reliable backup power.
Rule number 7. Establish your security perimeter before desperation turns neighbors into threats. Because when civilization's veneer disappears, the difference between predator and prey often comes down to preparation and perception. Here's an uncomfortable truth. In extended blackouts, crime rates spike dramatically. People get desperate, normal social contracts break down, and your prepared household becomes a target for those who didn't plan ahead. But security isn't about turning your home into Fort Knox. It's about making yourself a hard target while maintaining the ability to help genuine neighbors in need. Physical security starts with your entry points: deadbolts, security bars, reinforced door frames. But power outages disable electronic security systems, so you're back to basics: manual locks, wooden door braces, and noisemakers that alert you to intrusion attempts. Here's a psychological security strategy most people overlook: controlled visibility. You want to appear occupied and alert, but not wealthy or overstocked. Dim lighting visible from outside suggests someone's home but conserving resources. Bright lights everywhere screams, "We have plenty of supplies, come take them." Your security perimeter extends beyond your property line. Know your neighbors before emergencies hit. Who can you trust? Who might become problems?
Which houses have elderly residents who might need help? Information is security, and community relationships are your early warning system. Noise discipline becomes critical. Generators, radios, even conversations can be heard much farther when ambient noise from traffic and air conditioners disappears. Sound travels differently in blackout conditions, and advertising your activity levels can attract unwanted attention. But here's the most important security principle. Don't be the only prepared house on your block. Instead of hoarding everything, help a few trusted neighbors develop basic preparedness. A prepared neighborhood is more secure than one prepared house surrounded by desperate people. Movement security matters too. If you need to venture outside, do it during daylight when possible. Travel in pairs or groups. Vary your routes and timing. Avoid displaying supplies or equipment that advertises your preparedness level. Communication security is something most people never consider. Don't discuss your supply levels, generator fuel, or food stores on two-way radios or in conversations that might be overheard. Operational security isn't paranoia, it's smart risk management. Here's an advanced security concept. Create the illusion of multiple people, even if you're alone or have a small family. Different voices on radios, varied lighting patterns, occasional movement near different windows. Predators prefer easy targets, and a house that appears well defended gets passed over for easier opportunities. Rule number 8, master resource multiplication before scarcity forces you into survival mode. Because the difference between thriving and barely surviving is knowing how to make a little go a long way. Resource multiplication isn't about having unlimited supplies. It's about maximizing what you have through smart usage, conservation, and creative repurposing. Let's start with energy multiplication. One battery can power multiple devices if you're strategic about usage. LED lights use fraction of the power of incandescent bulbs. Hand crank flashlights generate power without consuming batteries. Solar lights charge during the day and provide illumination all night without any battery drain from your emergency supplies. But here's a multiplication hack most people miss: heat capture and redistribution. That propane stove isn't just for cooking, it's also a heat source. Cook your meal, then use the residual heat to warm water for washing or drinking. Boil water in the largest pot you have, then pour portions into smaller containers that become personal heating devices for hours. Water multiplication techniques can stretch your supply dramatically. Gray water from washing dishes or hands can water plants or flush toilets. Rainwater collection systems can multiply your water supply indefinitely. Even condensation from air conditioning units or dehumidifiers becomes usable water with proper filtration. Food multiplication strategies turn basic ingredients into multiple meals. One can of tomato sauce becomes pasta sauce, soup base, and pizza sauce. Rice dishes can stretch meat portions to feed more people. Sprouting seeds create fresh vegetables from stored dry goods, multiplying both nutrition and food volume. Here's an advanced multiplication principle: cross-functional supplies. Every item in your emergency kit should serve multiple purposes. Duct tape repairs, secures, insulates, and marks. Plastic sheeting creates vapor barriers, rain collection surfaces, and privacy screens. Blankets provide warmth, sound dampening, and light control. Skill multiplication is the ultimate force multiplier. Basic repair skills let you fix things instead of replacing them. Food preservation knowledge turns perishables into long-term storage. Medical training means you can treat injuries instead of just hoping they heal. Social multiplication means leveraging community resources through cooperation instead of competition. Sharing skills, tools, and knowledge with trusted neighbors creates a resource pool much larger than what any individual household can maintain alone. Energy conservation equals resource multiplication. Using daylight instead of battery-powered lights. Cooking multiple meals at once to maximize fuel efficiency. Clustering activities to minimize battery drain. Every watt saved is a watt available for more critical needs later. Here's something most people never consider: psychological resource multiplication. Maintaining morale and hope multiplies your family's ability to endure hardship. Games, music, storytelling, and maintaining routines create psychological resources that sustain people through extended difficulties. Rule number 9: implement escalation protocols before situations spiral beyond your control. Because knowing when to shelter in place, when to relocate, and when to signal for help can be the difference between surviving and becoming another casualty statistic. Most people think blackout survival is just about waiting it out, but extended power outages escalate through predictable phases, and your response needs to escalate accordingly. Phase 1 is the first 24 hours. This is when you execute rules 1 to 8. Secure lighting, water, food, temperature control, and communications. Most people think this is temporary and maintain normal routines, but smart survivors use this time to prepare for longer-term scenarios. Phase 2 kicks in around day 2-3. This is when supply chain disruptions become obvious. Grocery stores empty, gas stations close, people start getting desperate. Your protocols shift from preparation to conservation mode. Ration everything, minimize energy usage, strengthen security measures. Phase 3 starts around day 4 to 7. Social order begins breaking down, crime increases, municipal services become unreliable. This is when you need to decide: shelter in place or relocate to a safer environment. Your escalation decision tree should be predetermined. If violence increases in your area, what's your trigger point for leaving? If water supplies become contaminated, where do you go? If medical emergencies exceed your capability, how do you get help? Bug-out bags become critical in Phase 3. These aren't camping backpacks. They're carefully curated survival kits that let you relocate quickly while maintaining life support capabilities. Water purification, shelter, food, medical supplies, communication devices, and important documents all in grab-and-go format. But here's what most bug-out advice gets wrong. You need multiple evacuation plans: primary route, secondary route, and oh shit route for when everything goes wrong. Practice these routes during normal times. Know the terrain, the resources available, and potential choke points where you might get stuck. Signaling protocols escalate too. Phase 1 might be texting family members. Phase 2 requires radio communication and predetermined check-in schedules. Phase 3 might mean emergency flares, signal mirrors, or satellite communicators to call for rescue. Medical escalation protocols are life and death decisions. When do you attempt dangerous travel to reach medical facilities? How do you determine if someone's condition requires evacuation versus staying put? These decisions can't be made in the heat of the moment. They require pre-planning and clear criteria. Here's an advanced escalation concept: cache points. Pre-position supply caches at strategic locations between your home and bug-out destinations. Hidden supplies that let you resupply during evacuation or provide fallback resources if you can't make it to your primary destination. Community escalation involves neighboring families working together as situations deteriorate. Shared security, resource pooling, and coordinated responses. But this only works if relationships and protocols are established before the crisis hits. The hardest escalation decision is knowing when to abandon your prepared position, your home, your supplies, your comfort zone. But sometimes staying becomes more dangerous than leaving. Having predetermined criteria for this decision removes emotion from a life or death choice. Listen, we've covered 9 rules that could save your life when the lights go out. But watching this video isn't enough. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. And when the power fails for real, you won't have time to figure this out on the fly. Here's your homework. Pick 3 rules from this video and implement them this week. Not eventually, this week. Test your flashlight setup. Calculate your water storage capacity. Practice cooking without power. Because the time to discover your plan doesn't work isn't during the emergency. Remember that comprehensive survival guide I mentioned earlier? It's got everything we discussed today, plus dozens of additional strategies, supply lists, and real-world scenarios you can practice with your family. The link's in the description. And honestly, if this video has opened your eyes to how unprepared you might be, that guide could be the best investment you make this year. Share this video with people you care about, because survival isn't a solo sport. The more prepared people in your community, the safer everyone becomes. Hit that like button if this information was valuable to you, and subscribe for more content that could literally save your life.